Good
Yeah.
morning, everyone. I am Manik, member of Finance and Investment Cell, Shahid Bhaghat Singh Evening College, and I welcome you to today's episode of the Finance Burrito. Today, we have Rushabh Jain with us, who has many qualifications. He holds the professional certificate of Chartered Accountant, a company secretary, and also a third level qualified CFA with over 10 years of experience. Welcome, Rushabh.
Hi, Manik. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the college for letting me in on this particular podcast.
So, let's get started. So, what do you think? What are the main branches of fields which one can explore after selecting finance as a career?
Okay, so I would say finance traditionally started with more of accounting, like Munimji was the word that was used previously, but now it is much more broad, much more multifaceted, and it has various diverse options. It can confuse people as well. So I'm here to clarify that. So let me just give you an example. The broad way in which the careers in finance are broken up into are in terms of consulting and in terms of industry. Okay, let me just throw a few more light on that particular subject. So when we talk about consulting, you are working in consulting organizations just like a big four. You can say like a BCG, McKinsey, etc. People working here are more in terms like you can say like they are consultants, and there are usually long hours of working here. But the roadmap here is more in terms of, you start with a staff accountant, and then gradually you move towards a director position there, director or a partner. Partner is the topmost position there. And if I go into what kind of work roles are there within this, it's
Yes.
broadly categorized into 3 to 4 items. The first one starting with audit and assurance. So ideally, people who are interested in audits, who are more interested in knowing the gap accounting, basically IGAP or maybe US gap. That's the place where this particular role comes into the picture. So if you are interested in that, audits and assurance is one place that you need to take care of. Now, item number two would be more in terms of taxation and legal. So ideally, people study law. People study taxation specifically. There are chartered accountants as well, which fall into this particular category. And you give tax guidance, or maybe you do tax audits as well. And this is what taxation and legal advisory covers. Item number three under consultants, you can say, is more of you can say like an advisory role. So it's not just accounting. Advisory includes M&A, you can say strategy, transaction services, which helps in bringing deals together, bringing people together. You can say like helping the clients to maybe fund or maybe bring in strategy or changes, which helps them to see a better future for themselves. And last but not
Yes.
the least, it's more in terms of financial planning. So this is more of something which has come up much more lately, wherein people want to have more better financial goals, maybe for their organization or at an individual level. So these consulting firms, ideally, if you work over here, to put it in one sentence, you are working to help others, you are working to serve others. So you are not an employee of other organizations, you are working on multiple clients in that particular domain. Okay. And you are more of like a specialist or specialization in that particular field. Now, if you ask me, what is the industry part of it? Industry is a bit different. Industry is more in terms of you working in organizations like which are pharmaceutical or maybe IT company. Every company needs a finance guy. Okay, you
Yes.
cannot have ideally you cannot have someone without a organization without a finance guy. So in this case, it's called industry. So you may be working in a pharma, you can be working in a finance company. Even a big four has an accounting section where they do the finance and accounting of that particular company. So it applies everywhere. Now,
Our government too.
absolutely. So, effectively, if you see the topmost position there is more of like a CF or a CXO position, who takes all the finance decisions ideally. And if you ask me what are the broader roles which are covered in this particular industry section, is first I would say it's corporate finance, that is controllership. Now, if you talk about controllership, it covers more of handling the auditors, making the financial statements, and more so items which are included in terms of risks and compliances of that particular company. So in industry, you are working for one company. You are not working for multiple companies or providing a service to many others. That's the broad understanding of corporate finance there. Secondly, there is another section called FP&A and strategy. So people also work on this particular career option, wherein people work on budgeting, forecasting, and providing strategies to the management. So it's dealing not with actual data. You can say it's more of forecasting and seeing whether the company is in lines with the future projected revenues that way. For example, okay. Now, third point is taxation. Now, every company would most probably have a taxation wing as well. They would be seeing, foreseeing all the tax audit part of things, transfer pricing things, and more so you can say compliance per se, whether the company is within all the, you can say that limits that are required to be complied with as per the various laws applicable to the company. Now there is treasury and credit management. So this is another wing that is opened up in finance. So many people are more interested, in forex management of that particular organization, or they like to do hedging. If it is a hedging organization, there are investments that need to be done if there is excess funds. So those kind of things, even negotiating the lines of credit, ideally working with bankers, to bring in the most optimum utilization of capital of the company. That's where treasury and credit management falls into place. So these are ideally the biggest chunks where you can categorize the careers. However, within industry, there is one very much upcoming thing that people say, I want to do investment banking and all that. So that falls somewhere within the industry, that's in the financing, or you can say banking sector, where people would like to do investment banking. Now this is again one thing which is come up much more recently. This is a subsection within the industry. In investment banking, you are helping the organization get funds, or to make the organization go public. That way there is equity research as well. So again, many, this is more of a fancy item which people prefer to go ahead with in terms of their careers. So again, you help in getting the right stock picks. You can say you research and you provide your views on various stock markets as well, or maybe the exchanges, or whomsoever needs those kind of data that way. All in all, broadly, it's divided into consulting as well as industry. So that's a broad category where you can see yourself in.
There are so many opportunities, I must say. Moving forward, how can one test the waters of what he likes or dislikes before entering into a finance field?
Okay, very good question. In fact, I would say if someone has already developed some particular liking for a subject, then the person should very much go ahead and do that particular thing as a future career thing. Secondly, if you still don't know, like if you do not choose that, then you go ahead and check what are you good at. Ideally, if you're good at speaking, you can definitely, or maybe interpersonal skills, you can definitely try something like a financial advisor. And if you're good
Yes.
in stock market, or you are following that, then you should go ahead and try something in that particular domain ideally. So first is aligning your skills. Second thing is seeing what career fits in within that skills, what you are liking and what you are capable of. So that's the second thing that you need to know. Now still there will be people like me who might not be able to figure out with both these things, that they like something, I didn't like something at the start of my career, or maybe you can say I was not able to align my goals and my likings. So you fall into the category where I am in. So in that case, what you need to do, ideally, you can spend like 2 years, 3 years, initial part of your career to evaluate what career options are there. You can join in somewhere, you can see whether you like it or no. But ideally, this is a good time. That's the reason why it's called freshers, right? Because you yourself are evaluating how well you're doing in something, or how well you're not doing. Ideally, this is one of the most critical times, the first 3 years, 4 years of your career. At least you come to know which direction you need to go, because if you are very much concrete here, you save a lot of time investment later on. So your decision today affects your decision tomorrow.
Oh, that's very interesting. So, Rishabh, I have one big question in my mind. What
Mhm.
courses would you like to recommend for those who are still pursuing some mainstream professional courses like CA or CS, but are willing to get some certificate or sub courses?
Okay, so first of all, in lines with what I answered you in terms of previous two questions, all the courses and sub courses should be aligned to what you are liking or what career you have selected. Okay, if you have selected something like investment banking or something like that, or maybe private equity or equity research, you are definitely going to go for a course like a CFA or maybe a CFP or something which is dealing with financial modeling, which definitely helps you throughout that career. So ideally, just like career options, there are various things that are available in the market, but you cannot go and pick and choose everything. You need to see what you like, see what career you have selected, and then see what are the sub options available there. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
as far as my example goes, if you are good at Indian accounting, you like accounting, you like to crunch numbers, for example, do the course of CA, or maybe you do
Yes.
something which is in terms of if you like FP&A, that is strategy, financial planning and analysis. Go and do an MBA. There are many courses on MBA that are talking about FP&A, and they help you present data the right way, the way management wants. So that's how it goes. There is no specific answer to that, but the answer is hidden in the questions that you had asked me, what career you are going into and what you like,
I think it is very important. So,
right?
our next question is, as we are seeing that more and more students are opting for finance as a career, so what are your or thoughts on our economy? Is it generating sufficient employment opportunities? And what about future?
Okay, so I would like to put it up this way that India is one of the topmost emerging markets right now. You can see
Yes,
industries growing. You can see FII inflows coming in this particular country. So that means there is definitely a great potential of various organizations growing. The second good part is that we are one of the second largest consumer market globally, or first or second in based on the kinds of products that are there. As the business grows, every organization will need a finance guy, right? And every
definitely, sir.
organization for growing, they would want to, if they want to do an M&A or so, they would always like to go and acquire other companies outside which are not doing that well at a cheaper rate. So ideally, I see a very huge potential in terms of finance careers. The only thing that a person needs to take care of is to upskill himself or herself.
The next question is the trendiest one these days. That is, since large number of fintechs are coming into picture, how important it has become for a finance field student to learn technology.
Okay, let me put it this way. Ideally, fintechs definitely look at more of like AI or like machine learning, or you can say like deep learning, these kind of stuff. So engineers are, or maybe the techies are the persons who would get the most of the jobs over there. But in terms of finance, where are we going to get a benefit out of it? I would say two things. If you are able to have a collaboration between finance requirements and technology, this is item number one, then you can be an
Yes,
entrepreneur in this particular domain. Second thing, even if you are not an entrepreneur, you're not making any ideas, but these organizations work on data, and data analysis is something. Data is a new oil, you might have heard that, right?
yes,
So
yes.
ideally, working on data is something which is the most critical thing. If you talk about you can say like a qualification, CFA is one of those. And if you talk about soft skills, there are various soft skills that are there in the market. Like you can learn Tableau, you can learn Power BI, you can learn Python. These are all investments in yourself. Like you can say like 3 months, 4 months down the line, you get that particular return for that particular thing.
As we approach the end of this episode, would you like to give any piece of advice for a student planning to get into the finance world?
Yes, definitely. Because when I started my career, I did need some guidance like this. I would say few very critical points I would like to highlight. First of all, uh, you will be learning each and every day in your office. Okay, each and every day till the last day of your office. So be open to learning. Second thing, you have to be ambitious, but I would say you have to be patiently ambitious. Meaning there are no shortcuts to success, but success
Hmm.
is there only if you keep learning and if you are ambitious. Okay, if you sit on one place, you're going to be there. I mean, if you're going to walk the same mile every day, you're going to reach the same destination. That's how it goes. Third thing is, learn to be comfortable with your failures. I would say failures are good, accept them, because if you don't fail, you don't know where you're going wrong, right? So
Yes,
whenever a failure comes, celebrate it. That's the way I think Elon Musk might have also celebrated after the three failures, and then he had a SpaceX created for that rocket going outside, right?
yes. Thank you so much for answering all our questions. It was wonderful listening for you. The links for the stated website are in the description. Go check it out. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Manik, and all the best to all who have attended this podcast. Best of luck.